Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, the show where Christian authors share their stories through their books to inspire you to speak up and share your own story. Today, I have invited author Teriece Cherell into the Speak Up Sis space to talk to us about relationships. She has written a book that deals with not just intimate, romantic partner relationships, but all types of relationships, from familial to financial. Yes, she even deals with your relationship with your money in this book. So I'm really excited to invite her to Speak Up Sis Talk Radio to share a little bit about herself and a lot about her book. So let's welcome Miss Teriece Cherell to Speak Up Sis Talk Radio. Hello, Speak Up Sis Talk Radio listeners. It is so good to be here in the space with you all again for another amazing conversation with another awesome Christian author. And today we've got Miss Teriece Cherell in the Speak Up Sis space today to talk to us about her book that deals with relationships. And so I'm going to pass the mic over and allow her to introduce herself and her book and tell you a little bit about herself. Teriece?
Yes. Hi, Angel. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I am doing well, sis. Thank you for saying yes to coming into the space.
Thank you for having me. I am born and raised in New Orleans. First of all, I am a child of God. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a minister-elect at the City of Love under Bishop Lester Love and Pastor Fran Love here in New Orleans. I am an author, speaker, and relationship coach. I am the co-author of Unshakable Faith and a co-editor of Queens Rising, the Movement magazine. I am also the owner of Transforming Consciously, where I seek to help individuals understand and navigate the changing waters of relationships. I have an MBA from University of Phoenix. I also have a paralegal certification, and I just love to network and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs and spread the message of hope, love, and practicing harmonic prosperity.
Wow. You got a lot going on, sis.
Just a few little things.
When you want anything done, and if you want it done right, you get a woman who has things on her calendar. You get a woman who's productive in on it, and you're going to get it done. So to me, it just sounds like you're productive.
Thank you. And I'm so glad you made that distinction, because in the book, I say busy people stay broke. Productive people make profits. So we want to make profits. We want to be productive, not just
That's
busy.
Right. That is right. And the book that you are talking about is Live, Learn, Love with an Open Heart, right? And you give us some life lessons on how to live, learn, and love. So talk to me a little bit about, what precipitated this book. What made you decide that you needed to write this book?
Well, I've always loved to read, write, speak, and act as a child. And I actually started writing at about 8 or 9 years old, just talking about life, relationships, growing up, different things of that nature. And of course, as I got older, it kind of got replaced with, other things that kind of occupied that time. I write poetry also. And it was something that was always there, but I wasn't really doing it anymore. And in 2018, I became affiliated with the All Access Foundation here in New Orleans under C.C. Harrison, who was the CEO of our church at the time. And that's where pretty much the idea came to write the book. So the organization mentors young girls and women in 4 categories: going back to school, starting a business, writing a book, or becoming a homeowner.
Okay.
And I was working on some of those other areas. As I stated, I have the MBA, so school wasn't an option at the time. I was doing credit repair and credit restoration, so that went in with the home buyers piece. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to start to get back into my writing, and thus the opportunity presented itself, and I took it.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. So tell us about the book itself.
Okay, so it's Live, Learn, Love with an Open Heart, Life Lessons on Cultivating Healthy and Meaningful Relationships. And in this book, I just seek to help readers to understand, acknowledge, and appreciate the variety of relationships in our lives.
Uh-huh.
Relationships take on many forms. So usually when you hear someone say relationship, they may think of, partner, spouse, husband, wife. But in the book, I break down relationships into the various categories. So I address familial, casual, platonic, romantic, and professional relationships, because I believe that all relationships are lessons and blessings, even the ones that don't work out. And there is something that you can learn from all of your relationships.
Right now, I actually highlighted a quote from your book that
Okay.
I believe resonates with what you just said, and also um, sort of what Speak Up Sis is all about. And you wrote, I have learned more, experienced more, shared more, lost more, and even gained more. So now I have more to speak about. And my experiences will help bless someone dealing with various issues I have encountered. I was like, yes. Yes, ma'am. Is that kind of where you said, okay, now that I know, it's time for me to share what I know with other people?
Yes, that's where it was. Because as I stated, writing as a child, it was great, but that was just my understanding of life and relationships at 8 or 9 years old. So
Mm-hmm.
being that I'm older, you have to go through it to get to it. I like to say, you hear the older folks say experience is the best teacher. So as I've gained more knowledge and experience dealing with different people and different types of relationships, I wanted to share that because I know that most of us deal with the same things, whether we like to admit it or not. Nothing is new under the sun. So
Mm-hmm.
something that we are currently going through or have gone through, someone else has already been there, done that. And if they are willing and open to share their experiences with us, they may save us a lot of heartache and pain
Right.
if we heed them, if we pay attention. Now, if we just do what we want to do, like we do sometimes, then we'll totally miss the lesson. But if we
Exactly.
definitely, take heed to what they say, I do believe that it will definitely save us, some time, some heartache and pain in the future.
Right, right. I feel you on that. So you start the book out talking about faith. Faith is. Why did you start with faith? This is a book talking about relationships. So what does faith have to do with relationships?
Well, faith has everything to do with relationships. And for me, growing up in a spiritual, having that strong spiritual foundation was very important to me, because God wants to be or should be the ultimate relationship. And when I think about examples of relationships, I feel that he's the perfect example when you look at what you want in a relationship. So you want someone who's going to love you, respect you, make
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices for you, compromise, forgive
Mm-hmm.
you. And, as I go down the list, God is all that and more. So for me, it was a no-brainer to start with faith, because my faith is what got this book done. Is what started this process
That's
for me.
right.
Even taking it back there. So I definitely had to acknowledge him, because I mean, who knows me better than him? So if you want to have that relationship with, your partner, spouse, children, yourself, or anyone else, for me, it starts with that faith in God and that relationship that you have with him. And you want to make sure that it's healthy, that it's mutually beneficial, because it's very important. I'm big on healthy. We don't just want relationships, we want healthy, mutually beneficial relationships.
Right, right. I agree. I totally agree. I want to give our listeners just an idea, maybe just a little taste of what we have in this book, what you've given us in the book. So I'm going to go through just the chapters, and maybe you can give us just a little bit of a synopsis, maybe, of what,
Okay.
what's involved in those chapters. So
Okay.
you start us out with faith, and then it only makes sense that you go into family. So tell us a little bit about Family Matters.
Well, family matters. So for me, outside of faith, the next or the first concept or idea that you have with relationships is with your family, although most times we don't consider that a relationship. So, before I can have friends, before I can have a spouse, before I can have any of those things, you have your family, and just learning to understand the dynamics of family. And I break down family isn't just, your immediate family. It's extended. Family is someone that can be related to you by birth, marriage, adoption. So it's not just mother, father, sister, brother. It's aunts, uncles, cousins, your auntie and them, your parent, other people that have that, that family element. That's your village that you used to grow up with back in the day. So just really appreciating those people and acknowledging their place and how they really help to influence you. Now, some people's family experience, may be good, and
Mm-hmm.
others may not have been the best, but I do believe it's important that you acknowledge, what you did have, and think about what you learned from it. So if you didn't have the best experience, then you're going to make sure that if you have kids, you do everything for them that you may not have had as a child. And on the flip side of that, as I share some about mine, I had a pretty, good, decent childhood. So I definitely want to instill some of those values in my daughter that were instilled in me when I was her age.
Right. That's what's up. I totally can understand that. And then you went on to chapter 2 deals with chapter 3 deals with friends and finances. So I think having a right relationship with your friends and your finances, and not mixing your friends and your finances.
That's true. Because you can lose a friendship behind some money now, or a family member too. You know how people are about their money. But I just wanted to say that after family, friends are our chosen family. We can't
Mm,
we can't select our family, the family we're born into, but friends are different because the really good, great friends get promoted to family. I don't
that's
have
good.
any I don't have any biological sisters. So I do mention, two different friends that I've met at different points in my life, because usually you think of friends as someone you grew up with, way back when, elementary school, as they call grammar school,
Right.
high school, and you go through this whole journey. Now, that could be a friend, but there's also friends that God places in our lives later in life. So I speak
Mhm.
about a friend from high school that we're still friends today. And then I speak about a friend that came later in life, but because of the experiences that we've shared, and the connection that we had, we actually started out as business associates.
Oh,
we
wow.
were doing we were doing credit repair and credit restoration together, and we cultivated and developed that relationship, and that's my sister now. When she comes to New Orleans, she no longer lives here. She comes to the house, I go to the house. We spoil each other kids, and that's just an example of when God places people in your life at different times. So while I didn't grow up with her, from elementary school and high school, she came later in life. She still, has that place that, other friends have. On the flip side of that, I speak about being careful who you give that title to, because, I'm pretty
Mm.
sure everybody's not your friend.
Right. Right.
So, of course, I had to learn that, and my uncle taught me, that title is earned. Everybody is not your friend. And how us, how we, I'm going to say we as females, we cool and everything like that. But, life is taught now, experience, life is taught that title is one to be earned. I may have a lot of associates, I may have a lot of people that I'm cool with, but I would only say I have maybe a handful or two of people that I actually call a friend.
Right. You know what I really liked when I was reading um, the portion of the book that I've been able to finish. So, readers, I still have the second half to get through. However, the first part is good. So you're going to want to make sure that you check it out. But what I really liked about the book, as I read the first part and I sort of skimmed through the last part to make sure I felt confident about having this conversation with you, is that you don't focus the entire book on romantic relationships. And I think sometimes, especially with women, when we talk relationship, we usually are thinking a romantic relationship that we're having with, with our spouse or boyfriend or something of that nature. But what I really like about this book is that you're not just focusing on romantic relationships, but you're dealing with different types of relationships, with, like you said, with family members. You talk about your mom and your dad and your siblings. You talk about your favorite uncle. You even talk about your experiences with money, that weren't that great at first, and you learn to, have a better relationship with even your finances. So I really think that these types of conversations are necessary. They're needed, and we need to know that romantic, intimate partner relationships are not the only ones that we need to work on.
Yes, you put it so well, sis. I really like that. And to be honest with you, I believe that life has many lessons to teach, and through our relationships, we discover who we really are. You have to go through it to get to it. So when you look at your relationships, as I've stated, they're the greatest lessons and blessings of life, whether good or bad. They are designed to teach us something. They can teach us about life, ourselves, and others. So it's very important that we, be mindful again in making choices when we engage in these relationships. Because just as you choose to be in it, you can choose not to be in it as well if it's not healthy and mutually beneficial. And that's family, friends, partner, spouse, work, you have the choice. And I think that we don't realize that we have the power. The power of choice lies within each of us. So, we need to make choices that are reflective of the way we want to engage in relationships. And we have to teach people how we want to be treated. If we just allow anything and settle for anything, then people are just going to give us anything. But when you have high self-esteem, when you know who you are and whose you are, you know your value and you know your worth, and you're not going to accept anything from anyone. And they aren't going to just give you anything because they know you're not going to accept it. So that's very important also, that we show them, how to treat us. And a part of that is having self-love and care for ourselves, knowing how we deserve and want to be treated.
That's good, sis. I'm going to tell you, and I think that is a great segue into your chapter 4, choices, chances, changes. I was like, okay. And that quote that you started off with by Zig Ziglar, choices, chances, and changes. You must make a choice to take a chance, or your life will never change. Those are some wise words.
Thank you, Zig. I just borrowed them. But when you really look at it, like I just shared, we have the power, and our power is in the choices that we make. And sometimes we get caught up on focusing on things that we cannot control, and then we lose control because we don't focus on the things that we can control. So when I got to that point, because everyone reaches that pivotal moment in their life, when they have this acknowledgement, and as I went on, I spoke about acknowledge, accept, and adjust. And it all comes to a point in life and in time when we need to do that. It's a form of self-evaluation and self-reflection. There are some things that we need to acknowledge, accept, and adjust about ourselves. So that goes in line with the choices, the chances, and the changes. Right. Because like I said, if you want to, be in a relationship or not, because we have that choice, and everyone has that choice. So we just need to make sure, hey, life is so simple, but we make it so complicated sometimes because we don't know what to choose and how to choose. But I believe that every day God wakes us up and allows us to see another day. That's a choice.
Mm.
Just as he chose to wake us up, we should choose to, to do something with our lives and with ourselves that's going to be pleasing in his sight. So we're going to have missions and goals and dreams as you are, and, having life works and trying to help others, because that's a choice that we should make. Now, everyone doesn't make that choice, and that's fine because we do have the power. That's why God gives us free will. He's not a forceful God. He gives us the opportunity to make our own choices. And some choices we make are good and some are not so good. But even with the not so good ones, we can still learn from them. We don't have to beat ourselves up because we didn't make the best decision. But on the other side of that is being mindful, because we know the choices we make today will affect us tomorrow, weeks, months, even years down the road. And they will also affect our children.
Right.
So now, because I am a parent, I'm mindful. I do have a daughter. I'm like, hey, when it was just me, maybe I could make a choice. But I'm like, no, I'm very mindful because I have a daughter. And although it's a choice I make, I don't want her to have to pay for a choice or a decision I make.
Exactly. I don't think a lot of people think that far into their decision making. I I really don't, especially in our current society where we've got narcissism on the rise and everything is about me and what I want to do and what benefits me and what's going to be best for me. But you're right. It's very important that when we understand relationships, we understand that we're all connected in a very divine way. And the decisions that we choose to make for ourselves are going to impact other people, and especially if we have children, they're most definitely going to affect our kids, right? And not just our kids, but everyone who's connected to us, our our cubicle partners at work, you know what I'm saying, or the people that we have to interact with at school. The decisions that we make affect everyone who has to live in our space and whose spaces we live in. So I agree with you.
Thank you. And especially now, as you stated, in light of, COVID, hey, if you don't wear that mask, your decision may, affect someone else's life. So especially now, it's very crucial that we don't just think, I'm not going to wear my mask, because your decision not to wear a mask may cost someone else their life. So let's definitely in this season, in all seasons, but definitely this one, be very careful and mindful of the choices that we make.
Right. I think that's why it's important to have books like yours that help people see the value in relationships. And then your chapter 5 is titled Commitment to Cultivating Relationships. I was like, wow, I love the title because solid relationships aren't things that just happen haphazardly, right? We actually have to take time, just like a garden. We have to take time to actually cultivate, and we have to take time to actually dig up the ground and fertilize and water. We have to take time to actually, cultivate. And you say commitment to cultivating the relationships. I think that, oh goodness, commitment is a key word. Like, because come on, we're all people, and you got to just make a decision that this is something I'm going to do. I'm going to be committed to doing. If not, your poor little garden is not going to grow anything except weeds. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that is so true. And just in that chapter, I just give them some elements of what I believe constitute successful, healthy relationships. Now, while all relationships are not created equally, I'll say that each one has the power to teach us. So I speak about communication, respect, trust, honesty, loyalty, commitment, common values, support, forgiveness. You know, those are things that I believe constitute, like I said, it's like a cake to me. I kind of liken it to baking a cake. You know, you need all the right ingredients. You can't have too much of this and not enough of this. You need just the right amount, but the right amount is going to vary from relationship to relationship. But I
Right.
believe that, you know, that the most successful and healthy ones do have these elements in there as well as others as well. So it's just pretty much knowing what you do and don't want in your relationship, and being able to communicate that, you know, to your partner, to your employer, you know, to your friend, to your family, just making sure that they are able to understand what it is that you need and give it to you if they're able to. And I like when you mentioned the garden, because I say relationships are beautiful flowers that must be cultivated and watered by time, love, attention, and even transformation.
Mm.
Yeah, one of my greatest fears of being in a relationship is that I never want to lose myself. And that's
Mm.
something that, you know, while you want to give them time and attention and water them is they deserve and need to be, you know, sometimes we can give so much of ourselves to others that there's nothing left for us.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the, you know, that's the losing myself part, because as women especially, you know, we wear so many crowns. I'm gonna say crowns, not hats. We wear so many crowns. And you know, we're mothers, we're daughters, we're employers, we're businesswomen, we're entrepreneurs. You know, we have so much to give and to do, and yet, you know, sometimes, you know, we get empty or we extend ourselves. And the other side of that is just making sure that you maintain, you know, a healthy balance. It's all about balance and being able to manage and do all those things. But you can't pour from an empty cup, and I know you've heard that before. So
Right.
while we're giving and cultivating and loving and giving time and attention to our relationships, all different types, let's make sure we put that same energy and time into ourselves as well.
That's what's up. Listen, y'all. Teriece has dropped some jewels on us today, and that is not even the end of the book. There
Mm-mm.
is a whole other section that deals with loving the legacy. Her chapter 7 is time is of the essence, and then she's got chapter 8, the true to me, and then chapter 9, transforming light. Listen, everybody, you all need to do yourselves a favor and get this book. It's going to be a nice read. You can just kind of have your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, sit out on the balcony, and just read her words. There are some good words of wisdom in this book. There are some really great biblical principles that pertain to relationships of all sorts in this book. So check it out. Teriece, where can the people find your book in order to order a copy and read it? And do you have a website? How can the people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so the book is on Amazon Kindle and Barnes and Nobles on both ebook and Nook. You just type Live, Learn, Love with an Open Heart. You'll see this nice, beautiful picture of me in a red dress. I am also on Facebook as Teriece Cherell, Teriece Cherell. And I also have a page for the book. It's Live, Learn, Love with an Open Heart. I'm on Instagram as I am Teriece Cherell, Twitter, Teriece Cherell, and my website is www.teriececherell.com.
That's what's up. Teriece, I appreciate you for coming into the space today and sharing yourself as well as your story through your written work. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I think we could probably spend hours. And just so y'all already know that I've already spent like 30, 40 minutes talking to her before this conversation, right? my listeners, they already know. We have already had a
Okay.
conversation. So we could probably talk like for hours beyond this. But 30 minutes is what we have time for today.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you so much for being an amazing guest today. I enjoyed reading the parts of the book that I have read, and I will get back with you to let you know, all of my thoughts about the remaining part of the book.
And thank you so much for having me. It has been great. I love the opportunity and the conversation. I just want to leave them with this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing more beautiful or greater than an open, loving heart. When our hearts are open, we can both give and receive the pure, unconditional love of God. For God is love, and we too are love. So I just want to encourage you to live, learn, and love with an open heart.
And with that, everyone, we will see you next time on Speak Up Sis Talk Radio. Bye.
Teriece, thank you so much for coming into the Speak Up Sis space today and sharing Live, Learn, Love with an Open Heart. I really appreciate you, sis. All right, everyone, we're done for the day. I appreciate your time and ear. I thank you for tuning in to Speak Up Sis Talk Radio, where Christian authors have a chance to share their stories to inspire yours. Please visit me online at speakupsis.com and follow me on Facebook at Speak Up Sis Talk Radio. I can also be found on Instagram at speak.up.sis. Until next time, have a beautiful day and be blessed. Bye.